Just a reminder to everyone on this media conference with Chris Silverwood, this has an embargo for tomorrow. That's Monday, 7th of June at 12 midday UK time. That's 12 midday UK time, Monday the 7th of June. We will start with David Charlesworth from the Press Association. Go ahead, David.
Thanks, Danny. Hi, Chris. Wondering what your thoughts on the test were as a whole. A lot of times New Zealand seemed to gain the upper hand, but then England battled back on a lot of occasions.
Yeah, I think you've got that right, really. I mean, there's obviously things that we'll look at and say we did really well, and equally there's things that we look at and we say we could have, obviously done a lot better. If we look at obviously the first innings batting, I felt that we showed a lack of discipline at times. Obviously, with shot management, we paid the price for that. It's something that we addressed, something we talked about in the dressing room. I mean, the one thing that I am very keen for this group to do is better face into problems. And if we have a difficult day, better talk. On the plus side, obviously, we saw Rory Burns come back in after being left out in India, show a lot of character and bat beautifully. Obviously, I was really pleased to see him go and get his 100. And then Sibley in the second innings, I thought he showed a lot of discipline and a lot of sort of, guts really, to stick in. And he showed us how stubborn he can be with the bat, which is why he's there, to score the runs at the top of the order for us. And I think from a bowling perspective, again, I think we held the game well for long periods of time, which is obviously part of the game plan that we've got. And it was great to see Ollie obviously take wickets as well.
Can I just mention Ollie? I mean, obviously you've said that he had an impressive week on the field at least. What views the coach made of what happened earlier in the week and how he's responded to that? It
was very disappointing. What should have been one of Ollie's greatest days of his career, obviously didn't end up so good for him. And it was disappointing for us as a group. I think it was a stark reminder to us all, the responsibilities that we hold in the positions that we're in. And obviously there is absolutely no place in this game for any form of discrimination whatsoever. And he showed a lot of remorse. He apologised, obviously publicly, apologised to the dressing room. And I think it's been a really big learner for him. But I think the big thing was all his education. We're all striving to be better. None of us are perfect. And we all need, to follow through on the education, to make sure that we're learning all the time and we can make the world a better place. But, more importantly, we work hard to make sure that this great game is, inclusive for everybody. There's no form of discrimination in whatsoever.
I know we have to wait for the punishment and whatever that may be. But going forward after that, would it be a case of move on after that punishment and he start afresh type of thing?
Well, let's just see what comes of it first. Obviously there's an investigation going to take place and obviously any decisions will be made after that.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. We'll go to Paul Newman and then John Etheridge. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Chris. Can I just follow that up on Ollie? You said there obviously that responsibility comes with the positions you guys are in. When he did this, he was obviously an 18-year-old who didn't have a professional contract at the time. Do you think that there should be some degree of leniency or understanding because it was so long ago and it was before he perhaps did have the responsibilities that come with the positions you guys are in?
Obviously, we are in that position now. And I'm going to go straight back to, the education process around this. So actually we can make the place a better place. We can make a difference. And I think we do hold positions where, we can try and do that and we can continually strive to do that. We all get things wrong at times. It's what we're doing, it's how we act about it, and what we're going to do about it, and that's where the education comes in. And the will for us as a group, as professional cricketers, as staff, to make it an inclusive environment. And we need to learn how to do that, and how to obviously make this game available to everybody.
Was it you who had to break the news to him when he came off the field on Wednesday that these tweets had been uncovered?
I did, yeah. That's my responsibility in the dressing room. Obviously, I broke the news to Ollie, and I broke the news to the team as well. I think that's my responsibility to do that.
How was he when he realised, such a big day had been ruined?
Obviously, devastated, as you would be. I would say devastated, embarrassed, and very remorseful is the word that I would use. And like I say, he was very quick to take on board what had happened, and equally, apologised wholeheartedly to the dressing room, and obviously came out and apologised to the rest of the world as well, which he had to do. He had to face into this.
And finally on this, Chris, do you think, I have seen it said that maybe he shouldn't have a test future at all after this. Do you think that's too harsh?
Well, obviously, the investigation is going to happen, and I think any decisions will be made after that. Let's see what they find first.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. John Etheridge, please.
Chris, some comments from the TV and radio summarisers that you might have had a bit more of a look at the target today. What was the sort of thought process behind not really going for the runs whatsoever?
Well, I think they made it very difficult. I mean, obviously we saw throughout the game when the seam bowlers in particular held the lengths, it was very difficult to score. I mean, the scoring rate weren't much above 3 most of the game anyway. So, when you're setting a total, you look at, how do we make it? There is two results really, which one of them is you draw and the other one's you win if you're setting a total for them. So, they made it difficult for us anyway, but at the same time, we thought, if we get ourselves in a position, we may be able to push a button. But unfortunately, we didn't find ourselves in that position. So, we had to settle for making sure that we saw the game through. I thought Dominic Sibley did a great job of doing that, showing the resilience that, he's well known for.
The top 7, I think, is England's most youngest, I think, of all time in a home test in terms of average age. Are you concerned about the lack of experience and maybe the lack of form?
No, to be honest. The only way we get experience is by playing. We know the talent's there. I've spent a lot of time with these guys now. The one thing that COVID has given me is time to spend with these guys. Living in the bubbles, watching them, talking to them, seeing them train. I know there's a lot of talent in there, but one thing that we need is to get the experience into them. This is an opportunity to do that, which we've talked about previously.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Dean Wilson, please.
Hi, Chris. Can you just tell me how much of a distraction was the Ollie situation once it emerged? And moving towards the second test, whether he plays or not, or is part of the squad or not, are you also ready for the attention that you may get and questions about Craig Overton, who's also got a situation like this in his background?
Yeah, from a distraction point of view, obviously, it's not what we wanted, that is for sure. And we were all very disappointed in what happened. But we had to, sort of get on with it, really. We had a test match to play. So we knew the responsibility that we held to make sure that we do things better. And we also got on board very equally. We had a test match to play, so we had to get on with that. That doesn't say we dismiss it whatsoever. So we'll see the education in and around that to try and better ourselves, all of us. And sort of moving on to the next game, to answer your question on that, again, we'll have to wait to see what the investigation, what happens around that before we can make any decisions on sort of Ollie from that respect. And obviously, if Craig does play, well, we'll come to that when we get there.
Any more questions? Okay, well, just before you go, just so everyone's aware, this will go out at 12 as well. We're going to be adding Yorkshire's Dominic Best to the squad. I don't know if anybody just wants to ask a question about that, because obviously that will come out at the same time. Go ahead, Will, no problem.
Chris, you've added Dom Best to the squad for the second test. Any reason why? Is Jack Leach okay?
No, listen, Jack's absolutely fine. The reason we've added Dom to the squad is obviously any cover that we may need has to be in here with us. And obviously, if Jack was to feature, we would need backup for Jack, should we need any sort of concussion replace or anything like that. And if we are looking at a spinner, obviously if Jack gets injured leading into it, then we'll need somebody else there as well. So it's just making sure that we're covered on all angles.
Does that mean you're expecting a pitch that will require a spinner at Edgbaston?
Well, we'll see when we get there. I'm just making sure I've got every option available to me.
Cheers.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay, so that's 12 o'clock tomorrow morning UK time, Monday the 7th of June. That's tomorrow afternoon, actually, noon. So, 7th of June. In terms of any statement regarding the Ollie Robinson incident, that will be later tonight. What time is it now? It's just gone 8 o'clock it could be around 9, half 9. So obviously, as soon as we've got that, I will send it through. So I know I appreciate it's late, but I can't give you more than that at this stage. Thank you. Have a good evening. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, guys.